Haunting melody, she plays the piano alone, unknowingly awakening a billionaire's lost love at 3 a.m. In the dead of night, the old house groaned under the weight of its secrets. The clock struck 3, its chime echoing through the darkened rooms like a warning bell. Amelia, a curious young woman with a passion for music, sat at the dusty grand piano in the dim light. Her fingers danced across the keys, pulling forth a melody that seemed to breathe life into the shadows around her. Every note shimmered with a strange energy, wrapping the air in a mysterious fog. The sound felt otherworldly, sparking an eerie calmness that seeped into her bones. Little did she know, her playing was stirring something profound, something long lost and deeply buried. Every time she played, the temperature dropped, and a chill snaked up her spine. An old portrait hung nearby, a dashing man with piercing blue eyes and a haunting smile. The kind of smile that hinted at untold stories, of love and loss. Beneath it, a tattered curtain fluttered as if pushed by unseen hands. Strange how her music seemed to resonate with the past, how it coaxed the whispers of long-forgotten memories into the present. Amelia felt watched, but not by the living. No, it was something far more tempting and tragic. As she played on, the very walls of the house trembled, harmonizing with the melody. Shadows flitted across the floor, and the air thickened with anticipation. A flicker of movement caught her eye, a figure, momentarily visible, lingering in the fringes of her vision. Ethereal, she could feel her heart racing. Who was it? She struck a chord, louder this time, desperate to summon the figure again. What did it want? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. Suddenly, the melody shifted, morphing into a sorrowful waltz all its own. The room surged with energy, and the figure became clearer, a specter, shimmering, dressed in what seemed to be a blend of lost eras. Fingers poised above the keys, Amelia stared in disbelief, the world drawing to a standstill. The apparition's eyes sparkled with tears, each drop a fragment of a story, love lost to time. For a breathless moment, their gazes locked, an unspoken understanding weaving between them. But the figure flickered, hovering between realms, almost drifting away with every note she played. Amelia's heart pounded painfully in her chest. What had she awakened? A memory? A lover's spirit? The air crackled as she wondered, could she reach the man in the painting, the billionaire who once owned this house? Or was she destined to lose him to time once more? What would happen if she stopped playing? The spell would break, and with it, a chance to unearth love so deeply buried. As the last note hung in the air, silence enveloped the room, heavy like a thick fog. Amelia leaned forward, breathless. Whatever was in the shadows could feel her fear, her longing. And her fingers twitched, ready to play again. But would they bring back a love lost or cross a line better left untouched? The night deepened, waiting on her decision. The silence screamed in Amelia's ears. She took a deep breath, her fingers hovering above the keys, a tempest of emotions swirling within her. What if she let the melody flow? What if she chose to plunge deeper into the shadows, to connect with the flickering essence before her? The specter's gaze bore into her soul, urgent and pleading. Please, it seemed to whisper, a sound more felt than heard. The plea snaked its way into her chest, tightening around her heart like a vice. Without thinking, she began to play again, the familiar notes rising, trembling in the air. The sorrowful waltz returned, its emotion-wrought path flowing through the room like a river of memories. As the music escaped her lips, the room stirred, shadows swirling in harmony with each chord. The ethereal figure solidified, moving closer. Amelia could almost make out the details of his face, too handsome, even in a spectral form, those haunting blue eyes now gleaming with purpose. The air thickened. A half-formed memory flashed in her mind. She gasped, feeling a surge of connection, an inexplicable tether pulling her toward him. "Who are you?" she breathed, the question barely escaping her lips. With every note, she sensed a story unfolding. It was as if the piano was a portal, and she was a vessel letting time spill forth. He appeared to be reaching out, fingers brushing against an unseen barrier. The emotions radiating from him were palpable: longing, desperation, and a love lost for eternity. But behind his beautiful gaze was an anguish that shook her. The jagged edges of his sorrow pierced through her paralyzing fear, a sensation so raw it threatened to engulf her whole. "I am William," the figure finally spoke, the voice like a distant echo. Amelia's heart raced as she recalled the portrait. William, the billionaire with a tragic fate bound to the very house where she sat. "What happened to you?" The words tumbled out, desperation lacing her tone. With a nod of his head, William beckoned her closer as if he could pull her through time and space, but the shadows danced, eager to push him back into their dark embrace. The music intensified, reflecting his conflict, urging Amelia to keep playing, to hold on to this flickering moment. The room pulsated, and the walls echoed back her unease, as whispers echoed through the space, fragments of memories, secrets hidden in the fabric of the house. Confusion swirled around Amelia. The music had become a lifeline, pulling her deeper into William's forgotten story. But what if it all unraveled? In the chaos, she felt her resolve wavering. Was she just a pawn in some grand tragedy? Could her music alter the course of history? The melody shifted again, now a mix of hope and despair. That S when she heard it, the soft echo of a woman's laughter. It was fleeting yet unmistakable, a ghost of a past that lingered in the depths of William's memory. "Who is she?" Amelia's voice shook with fear. William's eyes darkened, a shadow crossing his face as he looked down, as if the name implied a wound too painful to reopen. Suddenly, the air charged with tension. A violent gust howled through the room, extinguishing the candlelight, plunging them both into darkness. Panic surged in Amelia. She could feel the void threatening to consume everything if she stopped playing. "Amelia!" William's voice broke through the stillness, almost a warning. "Don't stop, you're the key." But which door should she unlock? The answers were buried deep, waiting for her to unearth them. The weight of history hung heavy, and the only way forward was through music. As her fingers flew across the keys, she knew the truth lay just beyond the veil. Her heart raced with the fear of the unknown. Was she setting William free, or dooming him to the shadows once again? And in that moment, the house sighed, a haunting whisper echoing through its halls, as if poised on the brink of revealing its greatest secret. The night held its breath, and so did Amelia. What awaited her at the other end of this melody? Something shifted in the darkness. The shadows murmured as something stirred, and Amelia knew the answers were close yet dangerously out of reach. Amelia's fingers danced on the piano keys, the music weaving through the darkness like a thread beneath water. Each note pulsed, echoing the heartbeat that she was now acutely aware of, a slow, rhythmic thud anchored in her chest, mirroring William's invisible presence. Then, through the wave of sound, she heard it again, the laughter. A sweet, glittering sound like crystals falling in the night, and it ignited something in her. She strained to grasp its essence. Who was this woman haunting the corners of their encounter? What fragments of joy were now laced with sorrow? William's voice cut through her thoughts, deep and urgent. "You must listen, there are truths buried that I cannot unearth alone." The deep urgency in his tone gripped her. She had no choice but to obey. The next notes flowed from her, shaky yet filled with an intensity that seemed to reach both of them. With every chord, the air shimmered, and she felt the growing weight of regret and longing. "Tell me," she pleaded, her heart beating faster than the tempo. "What do you need from me?" His eyes, filled with a tumult of emotion, bore into hers. Her name was Eliza. I lost her long ago, and it brought me to this darkness. As William spoke, his form flickered, shadows trying to swallow him whole. The music shifted again, weaving between their fears and hearts, each chord an attempt to stabilize his presence. Please, he whispered, the melody it carries the memories. I need you to play my past. Hope and dread collided within Amelia. She pressed deeper into the music, the keys responded, blazing like fire beneath her fingers. Wave after wave of sound flowed from the piano, each note puncturing through the silence that sought to swallow them. The laughter grew clearer. This time, it felt alive, wrapping around her heart, coaxing her to uncover the forgotten moments. She could almost see Eliza, a figure caught in the corners of a dream, bright and sad like a sun setting over endless waves. But then William's voice broke through the beauty, raw with despair. You have to share in my pain, Amelia. Only then can the truth be revealed. Keep playing. All at once, the room began to shift. The walls pulsed with color as if the music had called forth unseen memories held captive. Shapes twisted and turned at the edges of the flickering candlelight. Amelia glanced up, her breath hitching. The shadows started to morph into a living tapestry, weaving scenes of a grand ballroom swirling with couples dancing, and she saw glimpses of Eliza, twinkling eyes bright in the radiance, but within that beauty, she felt a stabbing sense of dread. What if the past held horrors she was unprepared to face? She could feel the hair on the back of her neck pricking up as she continued to play, a thick mist gathering like a storm. More, Amelia. William urged, desperation coloring his voice. Let it all out. You must confront what happened to her to me. With a rush of courage, she bore down on the keys, pouring every ounce of her spirit into the waltz. The shadows darkened, swirling ferociously, and suddenly, a piercing scream echoed through the room. Amelia's heart leaped to her throat as she felt the floor shake beneath her, the laughter twisted into a wail, the air electrified with sorrow and fear. The music faltered in her hands, her resolve teetering on the edge of despair. Don't stop. William's voice thundered against the howling winds. You're almost there. Before she could react, the gasping figures appeared, mere wisps at first but quickly solidifying into living forms caught in time. A woman stood amidst them, Eliza. Pain etched on her features, eyes locked onto William's. What was left unsaid blasted through the air like a gunshot, echoing threats and unanswered questions. Amelia trembled, clutching the piano, torn between transcending the boundary of life and death and being consumed by darkness. The clash of memories reverberated around her, a churning storm of unfulfilled promises. Would she survive this harrowing revelation, or would she join them? As the shadows roared, demanding answers, Amelia recognized she stood on a precipice that could tear the very fabric of the past apart, and she had to decide, would she delve deeper into that darkness or flee into the light? But before a choice could be made, the ground beneath her trembled violently, threatening to pull her under. Would love conquer loss, or would she stumble into the abyss? The air was thick with a swirling fog tinted by soft candlelight, and the echoes of Amelia's music resonated, merging with the frantic heartbeat in her chest. The moment Eliza appeared, time seemed to freeze, shadows quivering with the memories they held. Amelia? William gasped, his voice thick with disbelief and longing. He reached out, fingers brushing the shimmering outline of Eliza but falling short, as if she were a ghost born of their shared grief. Eliza's gaze flickered away from William, darting toward Amelia. With a soft gasp, she stepped closer, shifting the air around her. Help me. The words were a fragile whisper, both pleading and imperious, echoing like a secret carved into stone. A chill ran down Amelia's spine, an inexplicable mix of fear and empathy flooding her being. What happened to you? She dared to ask, her fingers still fluttering nervously across the keys. Eliza's mouth moved, but no sound emerged at first. Instead, an icy gust of wind swirled around them, drawing Amelia deeper into the unfolding mystery. The music grew frenetic, reflecting her racing thoughts and swirling emotions. You have to understand. I never chose this path. It was taken from me. Suddenly, the room shimmered again, pulling Amelia into a new scene, a vibrant garden, laughter ringing like bells beneath the sun. Eliza danced merrily, laughter cascading around her, but darkness loomed at the edges of the play, a shadow that crept closer, swallowing the light. William! Eliza cried out, her voice soaked with desperation, entangled in the dancer's movements. You have to remember her. We can't let it end like this. William's face twisted with a storm of emotions, grief flooding his features as he fought against the shadow encroaching the memory. Eliza! He shouted, his voice cracking. Don't go. Don't leave me again. Amelia could feel the weight of their pain, a heaviness that pressed down on her shoulders, threatening to drown her in despair. She continued to play, pouring her essence into the music, fueling it with her determination to uncover what had transpired, to save them from this haunted fate. But as she did, the shadows surged, twisting into grotesque forms, forcing her to confront the evil that had seized their lives. Keep playing. William's voice sliced through the chaos, his hands reaching out to the storm. You're our only hope. A clawing sensation gripped Amelia's throat. The laughter turned again, twisting into anguished cries as darkness surged forward, threatening to explode into a storm of anguish. The piano keys tremored beneath her fingers, each note fighting against the oncoming storm. What do you want? Amelia yelled over the cacophony, desperation lacing her words. What can I do to set you free? In a moment that felt surreal, Eliza's eyes locked onto hers, emotion swirling as chaos teetered around them. Find the truth. Release my soul, but you must uncover the betrayal. Only then can we break this curse. A resounding clap of thunder echoed outside, shaking every surface. The room flickered, reality bending like a piece of art caught in a tempest. Amelia, caught in the center, felt everything threatening to pull her under. With every ounce of willpower, she forced herself to hold on to the melody, the only lifeline tethering them all together. But as the agony of the past tightened its grip, shadows began rising into a writhing mass, pulling Amelia away from the piano. She felt a cold sweat bead on her forehead, instinct screaming for her to escape, but the faces of William and Eliza burned in her mind. What are you willing to lose? A voice boomed from within the shadows, echoing Amelia's thoughts aloud. Will you sacrifice your own pain to save them? As darkness loomed closer, threatening to engulf her completely, Amelia faced an impossible choice. Would she dare dive deeper into the abyss, risking everything to uncover the horrifying truth behind Eliza's fate? Or would she turn away, haunted by their desperate faces forever? In that storm of emotion, with shadows clawing at her heels, one question hung in the air like a final note, vibrating with unquenchable urgency. Could love indeed conquer the darkness, or had the shadows already claimed their victory? As the shadows closed in, Amelia felt the weight of the world on her shoulders. Every note she played seemed to pull her deeper into a darkness she couldn't understand. Her heart pounded like a drum, drowning out the frantic whispers of Eliza's past. The room became a battlefield, each crescendo of her music a desperate shout against the encroaching void. William's silhouette flickered as if he were losing coherence, fading with every anguished note that escaped Amelia's trembling fingers. Stay with us, he cried, desperation lacing his voice like a thread holding them together. But the shadows pulled him, clawing at his essence, threatening to rip him from the world entirely. Amelia, please. Eliza's voice trailed off, caught in the tempest. The sorrow that spilled from their eyes mirrored the pain in Amelia's chest. She knew there was something more, some hidden truth buried beneath layers of betrayal and grief, veiled by the darkness that surrounded them. In a wild surge of determination, she let her instinct guide her hands, striking the piano with a renewed fervor. Each chord played like a beacon, slicing through the dark mist, illuminating fragments of the past. Memories ignited like flares, flickering to life under her relentless melody. Faces began to manifest in the shadows, distorted yet familiar, a gallery of sorrowful expressions, each carrying their own tale of loss. What are you? Amelia gasped, as the figures began to materialize, swirling like phantoms trapped in an eternal dance of despair, but a chilling wind whispered through the room, drowning out the final notes, snuffing the flickering lights of hope. You delve into realms you cannot comprehend, a voice pierced the shroud, laced with malice. It echoed through the air, sending shivers racing down her spine. This is not your battle. Turn back now, or be consumed. Gritting her teeth, Amelia refused to back down. What happened to Eliza? She shouted into the dark, defiance boiling within her. What betrayal binds you all? The shadows hesitated, murmurs swirling in confusion. Then, slowly, Eliza's image solidified amid the chaos, her luminous form glowing like a lantern in a storm. You must see, she implored, her voice gentle amid the tempest. You need to understand the truth behind the betrayal, the heartbreak that shattered us. In that instant, chaos fell silent. The air thickened with tension, and the overwhelming fog receded just enough to reveal a painful memory. A grand hall appeared, opulence radiating with light. It was alive with laughter, music mingling with the clinking of glasses. Eliza stood at the center, but her joy was overshadowed by a figure lurking in the shadows, a man with icy disdain in his eyes, the elegant mask of a smiling villain. The memory churned, revealing glimpses of hidden meetings, hushed conversations, and a dramatic confrontation that left Eliza vulnerable and exposed. Amelia felt anger igniting within her, a sudden surge of clarity. What did you do to her? She demanded, her hands hovering above the keys, trembling, ready to unleash a storm of truth. Then, in the depths of the shadows, a face emerged that sent cold dread racing through her veins. It was someone she recognized but couldn't play, someone tied to both Eliza and William, weaving a tangled web of secrets. Realization struck Amelia like a bolt of lightning. The mystery was deeper than she'd imagined, layered with heartbreak and deception. It was a conspiracy wrapped in love, betrayal twisting like a knife through the very fabric of their intertwined lives. Eliza's voice broke through the haze, a fragile whisper that held both fear and hope. You're the only one who can unravel this before it's too late. As the shadows surged forward to engulf her once more, Amelia's heart raced. The truth felt close enough to touch, but the abyss yawned wide beneath her. Would she unravel the secrets threatening to consume them all? The gripping question hung in the heavy air. How far was Amelia willing to go to uncover the truth and rescue Eliza's soul? When her fingers grazed the keys again, would she play to seal their fate or set them free? The echoes of her courage faded into the mist as darkness pressed closer. The shadows convulsed around Amelia, a suffocating mass that swallowed the room whole. Her breath quickened, panic clawed at her throat as she fought against the shadows tugging at her edges. Eliza's face flickered, a ray of steady light amidst the chaos. Amelia! The cry was a wail, heartbreaking and urgent. Play! With trembling hands, Amelia found the keys again, each stroke a desperate attempt to penetrate the darkness suffocating them. Heart racing, she poured every ounce of her being into the music, her fingers dancing over the keys, weaving a tapestry of sound that fought back the encroaching shadows. But the more she played, the stronger the malevolent force grew. An icy draft whipped around her, a whispering wind that echoed with laughter like a taunt. Do you really think you can save her? The voice coiled around her, heavy with disdain. You're merely puppet strings in a larger game. Shut up! She cried, fear transforming into anger. I want to let you take her. Eliza's image flickered, still shimmering but now burdened with an urgency that twisted Amelia's heart. Amelia, the truth is a double-edged sword. It can cut through the darkness, but it can also wound you deeply. Do you understand? Amelia's fingers paused mid-phrase, uncertainty washing over her. What truth? The question rattled like a loose bolt in her mind, unsettling. She glanced at William, who stood on the edge, slightly blurred, torn between reality and illusion. He watched her, eyes wide with a mix of love and dread. I can't bear to lose either of you, he murmured, his voice like a fraying thread. Then show me. Amelia shouted, furious. The urgency clawed inside her chest, a tempest demanding to be unleashed. Show me everything. In response, the air shimmered with electric tension, and the music shifted. The grand hall reappeared, brighter now, yet tainted with a dark undercurrent. Conversations buzzed in soft whispers, eyes darted and glimmered with secrets. Then the man emerged, sinister and compelling, a shadow poised between love and ambition. He beckoned Eliza closer, a serpent luring its prey. Who is he? Amelia whispered, but the shadows answered her in haunting murmurs. He is your family's curse, they screamed, their voices blending with the rising music. No. Eliza's ghostly image flickered. You mustn't let his name touch your lips. It brings nothing but ruin. But as Eliza's desperate warning echoed in her ears, Amelia felt it, a name surfacing from the abyss of her memories. The Shadowman's gaze locked onto hers, a smile both charming and cruel curving his lips, a challenge reflected in his eyes. Isn't it time you went digging through the dirt of your lineage, Amelia? He rasped. Don't you want to know who you really are? Amelia staggered, every note from her piano a pulse reverberating through her. Images flared before her eyes, old family portraits, hidden documents, clues to a dark past she had never fully faced. The kaleidoscope of her family history twisted into a grotesque shape, reminding her of the price of curiosity. Yet amidst the swirling doubts, the truth beckoned, urging her to explore its depths. The shadows shifted, growing restless, more aggressive, as they sensed her wavering resolve. You must choose. Eliza cried, her desperation growing more palpable. Choose what? Amelia shouted, frustration tinged with fear. Reveal the truth or save you. I can't do both. Amelia, listen. William urged. This is your chance. Let the music guide you, but you have to decide. Every answer leads you deeper into the past but might cost you what you hold dear. The crescendo of her melody swelled, merging with the urge to uncover the earth-shattering truth. Pain lanced through her. Would she face her family's legacy, or would she shrink back into the safety of shadows? As dread lodged in her throat, Amelia took a deep breath. One wrong note could spell disaster, yet the thrill of discovery roared louder than her fear. With all eyes upon her, both familiar and eerie, she let her fingers fly. Would she play to unearth her family's secrets, or would she sacrifice the very essence of who she was for Eliza's salvation? The moment arrived, the pivotal note that could change everything hung in the balance. Would it pierce through the darkness or be the final chord in their tragic symphony? The music surged forward, resonating with raw energy, a haunting note poised to unlock everything or unleash utter chaos. The note rang out, sharp and clear, cutting through the shadows like a knife. In that moment, the world held its breath. Amelia felt something shift, a powerful tremor running through the floor. The room around her pulsed with the energy of her music, the shadows quaking in response. They writhed and twisted, unsure how to counter the force she had unleashed, but something deeper tugged at her consciousness. The man looked on, a smirk dancing at the corners of his lips as if he had anticipated this moment. Ah, Amelia, he crooned, his voice silk and venom. You think you've summoned light, but in truth, you've only awakened what was already there. William, what's happening? She gasped, her fingertips still dancing over the keys. A tingling sensation surged through her, igniting her spine and filling her with an electric urgency. William stepped closer, his gaze flaring with determination. Don't let him distract you. Keep playing. You have the power to bend the darkness to your will. The shadows shuddered, momentarily retreating but refusing to surrender. Amelia felt their pulse in her veins, a chilling current that beckoned her to sink deeper into her fears. What do you want from me? She yelled, forcing her attention back to the music. Do you not crave the truth? The man's voice twisted around her like smoke. You can't fight your lineage, Amelia. You were born for this. Every secret you unveil, every memory you confront, belong to you. Your family has been lying to you all along. A blinding flash seized her imagination as fragmented images stirred in her mind: children playing in a garden, laughter ringing through a sunlit hall, but then a sudden shadow fell over them, a looming figure casting darkness on their smiles. Her heart thundered in her chest. Your family, your name, it holds the key. The man leaned closer, his confidence intoxicating. Don't you see? Eliza is but a whisper from your past, a warning. The real danger lies within the truth you've been sheltered from. No. Eliza's spirit echoed weakly, flickering like a failing light. Don't listen. He lies. Amelia's fingers hesitated, hovering over the piano's glossy surface. The shadows surged forward once more, turning into tendrils that wrapped around her wrists. Panic surged, and yet, a strange curiosity coiled around her heart. What if there was more to her story? Amelia, William pleaded, desperation coloring every word. Play for Eliza, but dig deeper. Find the hidden parts of yourself, confront the curse. Fueled by his unwavering belief in her, Amelia gritted her teeth and pressed her fingers down with renewed conviction. The melody shifted and twisted, transforming into something hauntingly beautiful, pulling at the threads of reality around her. As she played, the shadows writhed violently, desperate to stave off the encroaching light. They screamed, their chorus rising into an uproar that rattled the walls. A cacophony of rage and sorrow surrounded her, but amidst the chaos, a familiar voice broke through, the voice of her mother, calling her home from the depths of memory. Images flooded her mind, a hidden chamber, a weathered chest, the ominous glow of a family secret. The piano trembled beneath her fingers, resonating with every thought. The darkness clawed at her senses, and for a moment, she felt lost in its embrace. Yet deep down, she remembered a flicker of warmth, her mother's laughter, the love she had felt before shadows enveloped her life. Protect her! Amelia shouted, her music rising to a fever pitch. Protect her from your lies. Suddenly, a brilliant light erupted from her fingertips, spilling over the keys and illuminating the room. The shadows shrieked in fury, retreating like vapor before the morning sun. But in the blinding radiance, the man's shape began to dissolve, and in its place emerged a figure she could barely recognize, a woman with familiar eyes, a lost piece of her own soul. Mother? Amelia gasped, disbelief mingling with hope. For an instant, she felt time freeze around her. The ethereal glow enveloped the woman, revealing the agony and joy etched within her features. And then, just as quickly, the light flickered, threatening to fade. Amelia, the woman's voice resonated like a melody, a tiny, fragile thread laced with the weight of destiny. The truth is not what you think, you have to choose again. The piano notes faltered, the shadows stirred once more, and Amelia's heart sank. The shadows whispered their secrets, the man's voice beckoned her deeper, and a chilling realization pierced through her. The truth would demand a sacrifice. What price would she pay to reclaim the missing pieces of herself? As the chilling darkness advanced again and the figure shimmered before her, Amelia's resolve hardened. I will not back down, she declared, gripping the keys tighter. And just as the shadows surged for her, she took a breath, ready to unveil the depths of the buried secret looming behind the truth. But what would it cost her? That was the final question. The tension in the air thickened as Amelia's fingers struck the keys, the echoes reverberating like distant thunder. Each note carved a path through the oppressive darkness, yet the shadows pressed in, an unyielding force clawing at her sanity. The man's words flickered through her mind, seeping into her thoughts like poison. Truth? Lies? Everything she once knew danced dangerously close to oblivion. Keep playing. William urged, his voice echoing as though it were trapped in a distant cavern. His eyes bore into her with a fire that ignited her courage. She could feel him standing there, a bulwark against the encroaching chaos. Choose again. The words floated in the air, haunting her like a specter. Amelia's heart raced as she drew on the relentless energy now swirling through her, focusing on the warmth of love she thought lost. Her fingers flew over the keys, pouring her soul into every vibration. Suddenly, the piano seemed no longer an instrument of creation but a portal, the very air around her vibrating with raw power. Memories streamed past her mother's gentle smile and soothing embrace, the warmth of laughter amidst sunlight and love. But they twisted too, dark fragments emerging from the corners of her mind, weaving into a complex tapestry of pain and deceit. "Why won't you tell me the truth?" she shouted into the maelstrom of shadows, the words escaping like a wounded cry. "What are you hiding from me?" The shadows recoiled, whispering frantically, and in that moment, she felt an almost physical pull toward the hidden chest, the one she had managed to overlook all her life. A place where secrets festered like discarded memories. The man's laughter burst forth, sharp and mocking. "Do you truly believe you can unearth what you don't even understand?" he taunted, eyes glinting with menace. "What if the truth shatters everything you think you know about yourself?" Amelia faltered, doubt flooding her mind. Yet, doubt was quickly replaced by resolve. "I'd rather shatter than be a slave to ignorance," she shouted, pressing fiercely on the keys as the tides of darkness stilled in her defiance. At that instant, the shadows shivered, drawn back by her melody. The woman her mother began to materialize fully, the glow of light wrapping around her like a shroud. Amelia could see the pain etched in her features, a portrait of loss mixed with deep-rooted love. Amelia, her mother's voice trembled, echoing the very melody Amelia played. "You must understand the choice comes with a burden." "I'm ready," Amelia declared, desperate to grasp the truth but fearful of what it might reveal. The shadows coiled as the melody shifted, pulsating with intensity. But even as she played, dark tendrils snaked closer, trying to ensnare her. "Face the curse." The man howled, the shadows ripping at her intention, fingers clawing for her. The brilliance of her mother's light flickered against the onslaught. "Choose." Came a chorus, both from her mother and the shadows, an eerie balance of attachment and detachment. The air crackled with energy, and time twisted around her like one of her mother's old piano pieces, each moment a haunting harmony. Amelia smiled, a spark igniting in her heart. "Then I choose to uncover the truth," she cried, and with that declaration, she pushed through the crescendo of sound, illuminating the room. A bright flash enveloped her as the shadows screamed in defiance, the piano vibrating with a melody that could either save or destroy everything. But just as she reached the climax, an ominous tremor swept through the floor, a dark surge that rippled with a warning. The ground beneath her crackled, as if aligning with an unspoken prophecy. And then, there it was, a moment of silence, hanging in the air like a broken note, before the shadows surged back in a violent rush. Amelia's heart raced as dread twisted in her chest. Had she summoned more than she could handle? What darkness lurked just beyond the veil of her newfound truth? As she confronted the rising tide of shadows, a chilling whisper floated through the chaos: "You will never escape." What you truly are. With her heart pounding, Amelia steadied herself, gripping the piano keys tighter than ever. She knew the truth was within reach, but the cost, was it worth paying? And as the shadows encircled her, teasing the edges of her consciousness, she faced the most haunting question of all: was she ready to play the final note? Amelia's fingers trembled above the piano keys, the moment hanging in the air like a fragile thread. The shadows roared back with an angry surge, crashing against her resolve. No longer could she deny. The truth was like a double-edged sword. The weight of her choice pressed on her chest, wrapping around her like chains. The whispers grew louder as the shadowy forms loomed closer, their voices merging into a cacophony of confusion and fear. "You know nothing. You will find only despair." Each word was a dagger, driving deeper into her heart. Yet, she refused to give in. "I'm not afraid," she shouted, the defiance echoing off the walls. The melody shifted, bending to her will, a response to the turmoil around her. It wasn't just music now, it was her heartbeat, raw and pulsating. With every stroke of the keys, she called forth memories, both beautiful and tainted, weaving a narrative that felt both like a lullaby and a lament. Amelia. Her mother cried, her form flickering like a candle's flame struggling against the wind. You're so close, but the truth comes at a price. What price? Amelia screamed, tears stinging her eyes. I need to know. William stepped closer, his eyes haunted yet filled with a fierce determination. Amelia, whatever you uncover, just hold on to your heart. Don't let the anger take you. There's more at stake here than you realize. As the shadows rippled, a new sound broke through an anguished, soul-wrenching wail that clawed at Amelia's heart. It was her mother's echo, reverberating against the walls as pieces of her past began to emerge from the darkness. She could almost feel the warmth of her mother's embrace, but it flickered like those shadows, intermittent, tantalizing, and painful. Face it. You are bound to those who came before you. The man's laughter rang out from the abyss, sardonic and cruel. Do you think you can rewrite your fate? Amelia narrowed her eyes, anger boiling up from the pit of her stomach. No. I want to let you dictate my life. She played with fierce conviction, the notes rising to meet her, drowning out the shadow's taunts. A powerful swell of sound filled the room, crashing against the darkness like waves against a cliff, and then, the chest, a dull, wooden box nestled almost timidly in the corner of the room, began to shudder violently. It seemed to respond to the melody, as if awakening from a long slumber. Amelia's pulse quickened. Deep down, she knew this was the key to her mother's truth. Open it. William shouted, his voice barely audible above the music. Dread pooled in her belly as she hesitated. What if the contents revealed more than she was prepared to process? But as the shadows shrieked and clawed for her, Amelia found a strength she didn't know she had. With a final, resonant chord, she lifted her hand and struck the surfaces once more, filling the air with urgency. In that moment, she lunged for the chest, fingers trembling. The hinges creaked as the lid flew open. Inside, memories spilled out in a dazzling, swirling chaos: letters, photographs, tokens of a life half-lived. It was a kaleidoscope of emotions: love, betrayal, joy, and sorrow twirling in an ornate dance before her eyes, beckoning. But among the memories, one object caught her breath: a silver locket, its surface glimmering like a beacon of hope amidst the chaos. As her fingers closed around it, a wave of energy surged through her, grounding her against the encroaching darkness. You will regret this. The shadows hissed, their form writhing in fury. But Amelia held the locket tightly, feeling a warm pulse in response, the truth clawing at the edges of her consciousness. Just as she dared to open it, darkness enveloped her like a fog, the shadows stretching and swirling, ready to pull her under. Was she prepared for the reality that would emerge? Would this be the truth she had been yearning for, or would it become another layer of her haunting? The air thickened as the moment hung before her, heavy with uncertainty. All she could do was take a deep breath, her heart racing, and whisper to herself, I'm ready. And with a tremor, she cracked open the locket, poised on the cusp of discovery, her world on the verge of unraveling. What would the truth reveal, and was it more powerful than the shadows waiting to consume her? The moment the locket creaked open, a blinding light erupted, filling the dark corners of the room with color. A memory emerged from within the delicate metal, of vision that overwhelmed Amelia like a tidal wave. Joyous laughter wrapped around her, and there, before her eyes, stood a young woman with familiar features. Eliza. I loved him, Eliza whispered, the words echoing with exquisite clarity. Amelia felt a warmth cascade through her, brightening the shadows which had been lurking. The room transformed, morphing into the vibrant garden of Eliza's memories, blooms bursting with life under the sun. Amelia could see the past so vividly, love and laughter intertwined. But then, the darkness slithered in, creeping like smoke. Suddenly, an argument erupted, voices raised in fury. William stood there, young and heartbroken, while a figure loomed behind him, the man from the shadows. Jealousy bled from every pixel of regret on his face, turning it hard. The betrayal unfolded before her, a tragic tapestry of passion and anger unraveling like a thread pulled taut. "Open your eyes." The man sneered, his voice tainted with malice. "You're doomed to repeat it." Amelia's chest tightened with fear. This was love, but also loss, betrayal unveiled before her eyes. A chilling scream echoed as Eliza clutched her heart, the pain visible in a twist of fate. "It's not what you think," she cried, reaching for William, but shadows dragged at both their feet, willing them apart. "Keep playing," William shouted, his voice strong yet laced with despair. Motivated by urgency, Amelia buried herself in the music, fingers flying, drawing on the energy radiating from the locket. Each note wove together, filling the air with an enchanting melody that sparkled against the chaos. The shadows recoiled, battling against the warmth of her music just as the freeze of winter fights against the thaw of spring. The new memory swirled like leaves in a windstorm, revealing fragments of hidden truths. A clandestine meeting, a plotting of secrets shrouded in love, betrayal born of ambition, where Eliza was merely a pawn on a chessboard crafted of power and heartache. It wasn't just William who lost, it was an entire legacy dashed against the rocks of greed. In that instant, Amelia knew the truth would change everything. "Remember it all, let the past guide you," Eliza murmured, her spectral form steadying as the chaos danced around her, drawing strength from Amelia's melody. Those words became a lifeline, anchoring her amidst the storm swirling in her heart. Suddenly, the room pulsated, a blend of light and shadow. The spectral figures stood their ground, William's desperate yearning battling against the dark specter of betrayal. "This is your story. Don't lose it," Eliza cried, her voice a shimmering echo. With renewed harmony, Amelia channeled the energy swirling around her. She ground her heels into the reality of their intertwined fates and faced the shadows with resolve. "I refuse to let fear dictate this story. You've taken enough." In waves, Amelia's music unfolded, revealing one last memory hidden beneath the surface, the betrayal that shattered Eliza and William's love. With every note played, a looming truth emerged, a confrontation revealing the dark figure's true intentions. "You're bound to me," the man's voice thundered, but it contradicted the warmth she felt in the echoes of their laughter. The shadows writhed in desperation, caught beneath the bright crescendo Amelia conjured. "No. This ends now," she shouted, unleashing the final note, a magnificent crescendo bursting forth, a promise of both hope and clarity. Light flooded the room, igniting everything. Eliza stepped forward, a fierce clarity illuminating her eyes. "Do you see? Only by confronting the truth can love be reborn." With a final, decisive reverberation, Amelia played with all her heart, slicing through the darkness that had plagued them for too long. The shadows shrieked, the lingering whispers silenced at last, receding back into the darkness. Eliza and William glimmered, wrapping around each other in tender relief, the chains of the past finally broken. As the shadows melted and the chaos fell silent, Amelia could feel a kind of peace settle into the room, warm and vibrant, sunsets of loss morphing into dawns of renewal. The house sighed, stretching out the ghosts that once lingered. "Thank you," her mother's echo whirled around her like a soft breeze, twining with the memories of those they had lost. "You freed us," with a heart filled with gratitude, sadness mixing with hope. Amelia rose from the piano, knowing she had rewritten their tragic tale. She walked into the expansive hall where silence lingered like an old friend, but this time, it bore no weight of sorrow. "Goodbye," she whispered to the shadows retreating into the corners, ready to embrace the memories that would guide her on the path forward. Freedom filled every breath, every beat of her heart, washing away despair and lighting the way, and in that moment, with the light cascading and warmth surrounding her, Amelia understood. Love transcended time, darkness, and sorrow. It was reborn in melodies, in sacrifices made, and in the relentless pursuit of truth bordered by love. How was Amelia to know, as she turned, that her journey wasn't just about them? The echoes of their love would guide her towards her own destiny, nestled within the mysteries yet to unfold, but she would not walk this path alone. "Before you go, I need you to take action right now. You need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories we have coming your way. Smash that like button right now to feed the algorithm so more people can enjoy these captivating tales, and flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this ending. Let us hear what you think. Don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support means everything. Only true fans understand how vital it is to keep this community thriving.